countdown is on. In just a little under 2 weeks, Michigan's historic and iconic Woodward Avenue will be packed with spectators as they gaze at the world's biggest cruise of classic cars and trucks. It's a signature Detroit event that draws fans and participants from around the globe. Today, we'll tell you what you need to know to start making your plans to see the Saturday, August 19th event and some of the special activities leading up to the 28th Woodward Dream Cruise presented by Ford. Our guests will include Tony Michael, strategic advisor to the cruise, Michael Larry, board president for the cruise, and Mickey York, publisher and owner of Cruise and Media. It's Sunday, August the 6th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. You all have been with this for a good little while. I gotta ask you, from your various perspectives, does it get easier or harder to do every year because of this success? Michael?
Well, this will be my 19th year with the Dream Cruise, and I think to somewhat degree, it is a challenge, but at the same time, you feel like it's just the way it is. It's a copycat of each year to make sure that it works and that it's run smooth, and that it's all about the cars.
Yeah. Tony?
I have to tell you, this is one of the great American events, and it's just a joy to be a part of it. And the cities, these are wonderful people who do a great job. They believe in it, and it's a chance for people to be shoulder to shoulder on Woodward Avenue. And it doesn't get much better than that. It really doesn't. Thanks to WXYZ and Scripps, of course. I mean, we're in the top 3 markets in the nation. Mike Murray and I were talking about that the other day. In over 80 cities across America. It's incredible. Think about that. Here we are again, a great event in our region on a national stage.
But you've got people that travel from across the nation and even other nations, right?
Oh yeah, I just talked to someone yesterday from Great Britain who's planning on being here, and just, they always want inquiring about what's going on, where we stay. There's a lot of challenges to an event this large, but it also is a huge economic power.
If you've never been before, how do you sell it?
Well, look, it is 16 miles of smiles, as we say, and you've got the freedom to go wherever you want to watch this and take it all in. So as far as new, we want safety to continue as usual. It's one of the safest events you'll ever go to.
And it's family-friendly event.
Exactly. That was my next point, Chuck.
And free.
And free. And we want everyone with those hot rods and those collector cars to come out and take it in. We urge people with updated cars, today's cars, to stay in the left lanes if you have to go down Woodward, right, Michael?
Right.
It's all about the right 2 lanes for all the collector cars, and that's very important because we want people to be able to see them and to take it in. That's what this is about.
But leading up to that, there's so many different car shows and other events, and I imagine that helps to connect these 9 cities and helps promote all that's going on in these various cities. Either one.
Well, I think that because you're the Motor City and it's very oriented in the auto industry, that there's a lot of automotive enthusiasts. And with that comes a lot of passion and a lot of love for the owners who had these classic cars that they cherish and they treat like it's their own child. And so you create all these different car clubs and car shows because of that. Let's put it this way, there are the lovers and the haters of the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's like any event that you do that's outside. If you love art fairs, there's always going to be someone who's not going to love art fairs.
There'll be some inconvenience for some.
Everyone.
Right. But you're also proud that that's in your city.
That's right.
And it's an attraction for people to discover new things about the area that you perhaps live or work in that maybe they didn't know before.
Exactly. And so, what one person likes doesn't necessarily mean that everyone likes, but at the same time, it's all about good, healthy fun for everyone that can appreciate that.
Okay, we need to pause for a quick little pause. We'll come right back. We'll talk a little bit about sponsorship. We'll talk about this national heritage area that is really important as well. We'll be right back right after this. And welcome back to Spotlight, talking to Tony Michaels and Michael Larry of the Woodward Dream Cruise. And I referenced the facts that earlier this year, Senator Stabenow and some of her colleagues in Washington signed the National Heritage Area Act, and we became a part of that national thing that helps to promote Motor Cities region and connect all the dots in terms of the rich automotive heritage that we have. But let's talk a little bit about Ford. Came on as a sponsor a few years ago. So as the Woodward Dream Cruise presented by Ford, that's made a huge difference, hasn't it?
It really has. When you think about the Ford Motor Company and what they do in this community, it doesn't end, and here they are, with the refurbish of Central Station, which will open next year, and the great things they're doing there.
Lots of national, international attention.
Absolutely. Other things that they do in town, such as the Ford Fireworks and so many other things. And here they are again as our presenting sponsor of the Woodward Dream Cruise, the largest cruise in the nation. Again, stepping up, being a part of this community, bringing people together, and doing it in the right way.
This event brings a lot of money into this region. Talk a little bit about that, whether it's from the merchandising, it's the hotels, it's the people visiting, and why that's so important to this region.
Well, I'll tell you, bringing the people, as we talked about earlier, from out of town, other states, other countries, they're spending money here. And they're not just staying a night. They're staying a couple of nights. They're going to restaurants, bars, they're going shopping, they're doing all kinds of things, the hotels. This is a very impactful event to our entire region, and that is so important. It really is. And so you take what it brings to people, the joy, and you take what it brings, the economic impact, and we've got a grand slam here. We really do, for this community.
Yeah. What do you hear from car enthusiasts that they want, that you've got to make sure you accommodate in order to keep them coming back and keep them happy?
That's a good question. I think that it really is up to them to make that happen. We plan the events that go around the cruising of Woodward Avenue. We know that during the pandemic, when we officially had to cancel the Dream Cruise that 1 year, that there were still cruisers out there the day of the day.
Right. They said, we're outside, fresh air. This is the safest place we're going to get in this pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
So the challenge is really about, because it's a highway, a federal highway, M1, that we ask the people that aren't driving the classic cars to respect this day and allowing them to have those 2 lanes on the right side to have specifically for classic cars to cruise. That's what keeps them coming back, is if we can respect their wish to have those 2 lanes, which isn't asking a lot when you're talking about a one-day event.
Yeah, absolutely. And last thing we'll mention is the fact that obviously Channel 7 will be out there on Cruise Day, covering it from wall to wall. You also got radio partner in this, WOMC, and you got Cruisin' Media that helps promote it as well as all the other media that comes into this. But all of this sends out a big megaphone about Detroit and Metro Detroit.
It is massive. And again, we talked about the largest cruise. It's a massive event. And thanks to all of our media partners, with Odyssey, WXYZ, and so on, it's a megaphone. And it's a massive crowd with 40,000 cruisers on Woodward Avenue that Saturday. That's a big deal. It really is.
Yeah, it's not the day to just kind of casually get on Woodward Avenue if you don't have one of those cars that everybody is hoping to see. Go around Woodward, go up and down, stand on the side, watch it all, take it all in.
And we kick it all off with Cruise and Shoes, brought to you by Huntington Bank that morning, the 5K run, where you can run right on Woodward Avenue. And we urge people to sign up for that. It's a great fun. It's a wonderful race.
All right, thank you so much. And when Spotlight returns, we'll sit down with Mickey York, publisher and owner of Cruisin' Media. We'll be right back.
It is a celebration of Motor City muscle. Check it out. Tens of thousands of the greatest cars ever made. They are cruising down America's first highway in the world's largest one-day automotive event. Woodward Avenue is the place where you are going to hear the rumble. You're going to see all of the classics, and you're going to feel the nostalgia. We want to welcome you to the Woodward Dream Cruise presented by Ford.
All right, let me take you back. I remember quite a few years ago, I went out to Dana DeCoster's house, did an interview with him about his magazine, which was his baby.
Yeah.
And he showed me the classic car, and we had a lot of fun out there. Fast forward 2020, things changed a little bit, and there was a handoff, so to speak.
Yeah, there was. You know, the pandemic hit, obviously, that contributed to events drying up and going away.
It was a tough challenge for everybody.
It really was, especially for a car magazine that was largely centered on events and cruises and things of that nature. Obviously, there was none of that left at the time. Dana was approaching retirement age, dealing with some health issues, so it was kind of a perfect storm, I think, for him at the time, and he was forced to close up shop. That left a huge void, I think, in our community, the car community. I felt it. I know other people in the community felt it, that they really missed Cruise News. I had been in conversations with Dana about maybe taking over the magazine at some point, but I just couldn't wrap my head around how I would do it with my current career and then trying to run a magazine.
Sure.
Obviously, with the pandemic, left some void. I had some time on my hands. We continued to talk and eventually made an agreement to kind of pick up what was left of Cruise News, and I turned it into Cruise and Media, changed the name. We do a lot of the similar things that Cruise News did successfully for 25 years, but you know, we're a media company too, so we do a lot of things with video and social media and different things of that nature. Kind of brought it into the 21st century a little bit and just tried to build on what Dana had going. So that's how the deal came together, and I came to be in the magazine business. If car shows would ever dry up, and of course I don't think they will around here, but should something happen like that again, that we can survive in addition to that, we try to provide a lot of content telling stories of the people around the region, sort of trends, what's going on in the hobby, and we're trying to reach into a younger market as well, because there's great passion among younger car enthusiasts.
Detroit, Motor City, home of the muscle cars, the cruising, all of that, the iconic Woodward Avenue, first major highway in the U.S., all of these things that are unique to our area. But you're so close to the enthusiasts in this building. What is it about these classic cars, these muscle cars, that you, after all these years, still capture our imagination, even with electric cars and clean energy coming in?
I think there's just a different feel to those classic cars, and we say we're all things for the automotive enthusiast. So we embrace the electric vehicles, we embrace the new trends, we embrace the newer models, but our roots are in the classic cars. You know, they don't make them like that anymore.
No, they don't.
They drive different. They smell different. There's a different feel when you get in them. I know for me personally, when I'm in my classic car, it's not like my everyday driver, which is part of the appeal to it. You still have to drive that car. You can't put it on autopilot like you can with some of these cars nowadays. They sound different. I think that's still attractive to them.
And there's a nostalgia in it.
There is.
You were telling me your classic car, which is a 62 Impala that you're rebuilding right now, but you said it was originally your grandmother's. So there's stories that link the generations, and for those of us who have those, if you're taking your kid or your grandkid, there's a story there.
Yeah, and my story is not unique. There's so many people I come across that have these cars because it was a family car, or it's what their father drove, whatever the case may be. Maybe it was their first car when they were growing up, and they wanted to recapture, that time. So most of these cars have an attachment some way or another to these people that makes them special. So I think there's a soul to these cars that maybe you don't find in some of the newer cars, especially when you talk about some of the heritage and the family attachments that these hold for so many people that are in the hobby.
Right. All right, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we'll pick up on this theme. And I want to drill down on just if people go to the magazine digitally, what they can get out of it.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, talking to Mickey York. He is publisher and owner of Cruisin' Media, and you can find it online and get all the information you need. Before we drill down on just what all you can get out of the magazine for that person that maybe has never picked it up before and they want to explore, we're coming up on the Woodward Dream Cruise. Thousands of people will be out there. People come from all over the country and even other nations for this iconic event. Do you get even more excitement from people, checking out the magazine and stuff like that when these type of events are right around the corner, just because it starts to get their blood flowing again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like our Super Bowl of the car season.
And it may be the closest we get to the Super Bowl, but
hey,
that's
Chuck,
a different conversation.
You're right. That's another story. Come on now.
Go on. We're going to be optimistic. We're getting there one day.
That's right. That's right. But yes, so certainly there's a lot of excitement around Woodward, and we do have subscribers from other parts of the country that come in, and that's because that they've been exposed to the magazine through the Woodward Dream Cruise. So we put a lot of effort into this issue. Listing where events are throughout every community that participates in the Dream Cruise, and we're out there, of course, throughout the Dream Cruise as well, celebrating everything that is the Woodward Dream Cruise, because we love it as much as anybody.
And then you'll do the same with the Detroit Auto Show coming up, the North American International Auto Show. That'll come around the corner.
Yes.
Autorama, so
Concours d'Elegance, which will be down at the DIA again this year as well, so that's another big event. But yeah, we try to be involved and have some presence at all of these things, and it's hard to get to everything because there's something going on literally every day during the summer surrounded around the automotive hobby.
Well, the thing that I liked about it is when I went to it is that it's almost one-stop shopping. So depending on what it is you're looking for, if you're interested in selling a classic car, then you got classifieds in there.
We do.
If you just want to look at the pictures, then there's zillions of photos out there. So it's if you're looking for parts and stuff like that, you could do that. So it's a little bit of everything under one umbrella, rather than having to go to 15 different periodicals. You can do it from one.
We really try to be a resource to the automotive community. That's what Cruisin' News was all about, and that's what Cruisin' Media wants to be. First and foremost, we want to be a resource for the automotive community. So yes, if you're looking for an event, if you're looking for a cruise, if you're looking for somebody to work on your car, if you want to sell your car, we hope you think of us as being that place to be able to do all of those things.
Do you think we will always have this, but as we move towards electric cars, granted, there are a lot more cars out there that you got to gas up now than there are electric cars, but we're moving in that direction. Do you think this will become a dying industry, or will just take on a new form, but we're going to always have the mixture?
I don't think so, because during the Dream Cruise, there's cars out there 50, 60 or more years old still on the streets. These things have endured. They have to go somewhere, right? Whether they'll get handed down or somebody will purchase them. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. There's room for all of this with the classic, nostalgic, gas and oil-driven cars and the electric motors. So if you look at the automotive auctions that are taking place today, the prices for some of these cars, what they go for across the auction block,
Unbelievable.
that tells me that the enthusiasm to still have these vehicles and own these vehicles is there.
And those events are packed.
They're crazy. They're crazy.
So,
I don't think it's going away. And I know there's some people that are afraid that maybe the hobby is dying out. I don't see that at all. There's another generation coming, a youthful generation. They may not drive that classic Detroit steel, but they are every bit as passionate about their cars and adjusting those cars, souping them up, modifying them as anybody kind of back in the day that originally cruised up and down Woodward.
Okay, let's go full circle. Your world is sports world. There's a close link between this industry of classic car enthusiasts in sports, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. There are, I mean, I try not to cross the streams too often. You know, I try to keep them separate, but
Right.
I do know, and athletes I've talked to and dealt with over the years, a lot of guys have, you know, a passion for cars, whether it be classics or the modern day stuff. So we've had some conversations with guys about that. You know, everybody loves talking about their cars, so those are easy conversations to have. But yeah, I believe there is some crossover there. I try not to blend the two worlds. I've never done a feature on an athlete in my magazine.
Just keeping the lines clean.
Yeah, I try to keep the lines clean deliberately. I guess that's always a possibility. We could do something someday, but I've chose to kind of stay away from that deliberately. But yes, there is some certain crossover. I mean, you know, we all love cars.
I remember years ago I was working on a documentary and I flew out to California and interviewed Reggie Jackson at Reggie's Cars. And he had a little bit of everything up under that roof. And you could tell he was as passionate about his automotive, I was going to say cars, but he had a little bit of everything. He had bikes, he had, you name it. If it had wheels, he had it in there. But he was as passionate about that as he was hitting that baseball.
I'm very lucky that, you know, I'm passionate about sports, I'm passionate about cars, and I've been able to kind of carve out little careers and businesses in both genres. So, you know, they say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I guess I haven't worked a day yet. So.
All right. Any predictions on when the Lions are going to get to that Super Bowl?
I've got them at 11-6 this year, so I have them going to the playoffs. Once you get in, anything can happen.
All right. And our Tigers are going to be okay too?
They're going to get there.
All right.
They're going to get there.
All right. Mickey York, thanks so much for coming in. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks to all of my guests. Stay tuned to Channel 7 next week for the official Woodward Dream Cruise press conference kickoff and everything else leading up to August the 19th. And make your plans now. Call your friends and relatives in other cities and states and tell them to come see the world's biggest cruise. I'm Chuck Stokes. Have a great week.